I would like to invite Sanjay Kumar Banga to deliver his utility perspective presentation on smart cities.
Thank you very much. It's really a privilege and honor to discuss about utility perspective for smart city. Since in the last presentation of Gopal Saxena, he has covered all the Indian distribution sector. What I am going to discuss in for 5 to 10 minutes is what is the present status of utilities as such in terms of the smart grid where they exist. And then I will also put up a point of in next 2-3 years what is going to be there in the distribution sector and how it will support smart city. So, if we see it said that by 2050 every second Indian will be in city and the urban population will go very high, and we hope that the per capita consumption of electricity will also go high, which is presently around 1100. We expect it to go to around 3000. With this urbanization, 2015 when new government came in 2014, they set up a mission for the smart city and they said that okay, 100 cities are to be smart city, and they defined what the smart city means. But basically what they defined was there has to be smart transportation system, the smart sanitation system, the smart street light has to be there, the mobility, what all could be considered as smart was defined there, with a basic assumption that the living index, what we say, it will be there. Now these 100 smart cities, from electrical infrastructure point of view, we had an advantage, because all these 100 cities, the government had already given grant in 2012 under the central government funded scheme to set up the basic IT infrastructure. And this IT infrastructure was setting a billing application in that city, because the billing system was not that mature there. They also said that every city should have a SCADA system. They also said that every city which is a smart city, but at that time it was not a smart city, but it was city which was meeting the criteria of smart city, that this city should also have a GIS, consumer indexing. They also said that at that time the smart metering was not, so they said that key consumers and distribution transformer should also have a remote metering system, so that the energy audit is done properly. So the basic infrastructure for IT system, the grant was given by central government to all states to set up the basic IT infrastructure in these cities, and which in the last 5 years actually has been delivered. It has not been delivered very effectively, because the SCADA is not used in the way it should be used, but if you want, it can be used. The system is there. Now these utilities, if you see in India, there are around 4 or 5 private distribution utilities. So Delhi is a distribution utility. Delhi we have the BSES and Tatas. Bombay we have BSES and Tatas. And there are a couple of other private utilities in Calcutta and Ahmedabad, so 2 distribution utilities. There are around 4 or 5 private players which are managing the distribution sector in these 5 cities. The rest of, which I would say is 98% of the distribution sector, is completely controlled by state government. It is not controlled by central government, it is completely controlled by state government. And each state has around 4 or 5 distribution utilities. And all these distribution utilities have a loss level of roughly around 20 to 30%. Barring few states where the loss level is 10%, but the private distribution utilities invariably have a loss level of single digit. So they are maintaining, they are deploying these technologies, also using it technology very effectively. What I would say is complying to more or less the smart city requirement. The reliability parameters are fabulous, but in other part of the India, which is the 98%, the reliability is still a concern. The N-1 concept, which we call in electrical distribution sector, when there is a fault, the second source should be available, is still not available. Smart metering is not there in India as such, if we see. So the next 3-4 years, I would say, what are going to be, under the scheme when the government funded these cities, and when the distribution discoms were not performing well, the government set up a guideline that okay, your all liabilities, you are not able to get power and supply, your liabilities will go to the state government with clean balance sheet. Now you please distribute power, your losses to 15% by 2019. Now, the distribution companies are under the pressure. 2000 March, they have to bring losses to 15%. And the government also, for all consumers who are consuming more than 500 units, you should install smart meters by December 2018, which looks possible now. And they also said that by 2019, all consumers which are more than 200 unit consumption per month should have the smart meters. Now, since these distribution utilities were not interested to go for a smart metering and they were not having the funds for the smart metering, the new model of smart metering was around 6 months back. This new model, I will come, I will install smart meters, I will not take any money from you, I will improve your billing efficiency. As efficiency improves, I will get the portion of that incremental revenue. So, the few states have signed up with the government of India company, which is now started rolling smart metering for almost, I would say, 1 million consumers. The actual rollout will be after 6 months, but the agreement has been finalized. So that's a push government is giving to all state utility that you should have the smart metering. As such, if we see the network infrastructure of this distribution utility is not very strong and cannot support smart city. The basic problem which we have, the SPV which has been formed to set up the smart city, the electricity distribution or the smart grid is not the responsibility of that SPV. It is assumed that the electrical distribution system will be capable of meeting the reliability requirement which should be there in the smart city. So the electrical network updation should be done by a distribution utility, which is the government or utility incurring losses and losses. So what I am expecting in a smart city in a year to come, that there will be more and more involvement of the private sector. We have seen in the state of Rajasthan, where we got one city of Ajmer, which is named as the smart city by central government. And there they have outsourced the complete operation, commercial and everything that the Tatas have to manage there. So likewise, in time to come, most of these cities, either there will be a public-private partnership or there will be the private players who will be involved, because the capacity building in the distribution companies has not been done over a period of time. And the loss levels are very high, and these companies are virtually not sustainable in time to come. This is just of what I said. For TPDDL, the my company, if I say we have implemented almost all smart grid technology, bearing the smart metering, for which we have tied up with a company and they are rolling out the smart meter next 2 years. So next 2 years we will have a scalar EMS system. We already have all our consumers are indexed. Our loss level is around 7.5%. We have a field management system, so the operator gets the outage information on his mobile. He goes and attend and update in the SCADA system. So only when the consumer is out, it's not the fault at the higher level, that is not to us, and that will be done by smart metering when we in the next 2 years. So, two cities we are working with these city management for developing their smart grid roadmap. With Delhi and DMC area, Ajmer, we are supplying the power there. Chandigarh, Faridabad, Noida, Visakhapatnam. So at the conclusion, I would say that there is a comprehensive planning which is required, because city requirements in every smart city is very, very different. The Delhi need is drastic measures on the pollution control. The Ajmer doesn't need that. So the measures have to be different. More and more discussion is on technology, but rather I would say that it's just an enabler, but the basic framework, the process and system has to be there. The smart grid, as I said, I think I see in time to come more of the partnership of government distribution utilities with the private companies and making system more reliable. I think that's all I have from a utility point of view. Thank you.